Kei ngā kaiwhakaako hau e noho maira ki o koutou nā whenua tauri kura tēnā koutou katoa. Nau mai, haere mai, huro, koeke mai koe. Koeke mai koe ki tēnei turanga. Kua whiwhike i tō tohu, hei kai ako puta noi Aotearoa nei, tū mai rā koutou. Ki ngā ringa tō hau nui kai te mihi. Ki ngā ringa manaki, ki ngā ringa tautoko i a koe, e rere tonu ana ngā mihi ki a rātou. Haere mai, tauti mai rā. Nau mai rā ki te whare o Matatū Aotearoa. Ki tēnei whare kōrero, wānanga i ngā kaupapa tikanga matatika me te haipapa ngaiotanga, me ngā pairewa mo te umanga kai whakākoranga whakapiripiri mai.
Today I'm going to give an overview on how to submit an online application through Hapori Matatū and what documents are required. I will cover some key considerations for moving from Tōmua Provisional Practising Certificate to Tūturu Full Category 1, as well as some key points to keep in mind about the induction and mentoring program and what to think about when going overseas to teach. In order to start the registration process, we're using the Hapori Matatū online platform. To start your application, you'll need to have an Education Sector Logon, or ESL, from the Ministry of Education. For more information on how to get an ESL, follow the link in the description box or watch our short video on getting an ESL. Before you begin your application in Hapori Matatū, let's take a look at what you'll need to complete an application. You'll need 2 forms of ID to prove your identity. One must be from Category A that you can see here. The other form of ID needs to come from Category B that is shown here. Remember, any ID you submit to us must be current and not expired. One of the 2 forms of ID you present to your identity referee must be photographic, like a passport or driver's license. If you've spent more than 12 months in another country other than New Zealand within the last 10 years, even if you didn't spend the 12 months all in one visit, you'll need to provide a certified copy of a police certificate from that country. The police certificate must have been issued within the last 6 months. The Teaching Council has specific police clearance requirements for some countries. For more information about these requirements, visit the Teaching Council website. Now let's take a look at how to start your application on Hapori Matatū. With your ESL logon, log into Hapori Matatū at the top right-hand corner of the Hapori Matatū website. Once you've gained access, you will land on the main page where you apply for your first-time practising certificate, the purple box, where you can start your application process. Here are a few helpful tips when starting your application process. First, there is the status bar up the top, which indicates how far along you are in the online application. Please note that you will surpass some sections as this is your first-time application. Underneath, there is a blue reading that indicates a save point where everything up to this point will be saved. If you exit out of the application at that time, your application is saved as a draft. Please note that draft applications will be deleted after 2 weeks. I would like to point out the question, are you currently employed in a teaching position in New Zealand? If you answer with yes, you will be charged a $50 late fee. If you are in a teacher aide position or a teaching assistant, you are not in a teaching position and should answer with no. If you answer yes by error, we are able to return the $50 fee. The next question you will be asked in the online application is if you have spent 12 months or more in a country other than New Zealand within the last 10 years. Please note that the 12 months do not need to be consecutive. You could have spent 5 months in Australia in 2018 and another 7 months in Australia in 2022. You would still be required to provide a police clearance as it was 12 months in total. As part of the registration process, the Teaching Council completes identity checks for people working with children. This is in compliance with the Children's Act. In addition, we require identity verification for the police before we can submit a police vet. This is a one-time verification and we do not require proof of identity again unless you have changed your name. You can select 2 forms of ID from the drop-down list in Hapori Matatū. Please note that you will need to present original documents of these two forms of identification to your nominated identity referee. You can select your identity referee through the online portal. Please make sure to ask your identity referee for their registration number and select the registration number when nominating your identity referee. This will prevent choosing the wrong identity referee. Once proof of identity is complete, you will be able to enter your teaching qualification. Please only enter your teaching qualification, as we do not require any undergraduate qualifications. Depending on what the ITE provider issues you as verification of completion of your qualification, you can either choose to enter your My Equals link or upload a document confirming you have completed the program. If you upload a letter of completion, please make sure you upload a copy of the letter that is certified. Here is a list of what the provider may provide you as confirmation of completion of your qualification. After entering your qualification, you will be directed to where you can choose what you would like to apply for. Please note that in order to be able to teach in New Zealand, you are required to hold a practising certificate. The Tōmua Provisional Practising Certificate includes teacher registration for life. Once you have submitted your application, you can track your application under registration and certification. You can see your case number as well as the status of your application. Please note that if the status of your application states awaiting endorsement verification, that means your identity referee has not yet confirmed your identity, and you can check this with your identity referee directly. When the council has finalised your application, you will be able to see your details, and you can download your e-certificate under My Details. Once you are registered, you will have access to the community page, where you can join conversation and professional learning. Tōmua Provisional Certificated Teachers are required to complete a 2-year induction and mentoring program, and there are a few requirements that you have to look out for. You will need to hold a minimum 0.5 FTTE role in order to complete induction and mentoring. The 0.5 FTTE includes all aspects of the teacher's work, such as contact time, attending staff meetings, and professional development. For early childhood, that means that half the hours of the centre's opening hours for each week. It's important to mention that day-to-day relief teaching is not considered towards the service requirement for induction and mentoring. The induction and mentoring program needs to be completed under a fully certified mentor teacher. Teachers can combine induction and mentoring across learning centres to make up the 0.5 FTTE. However, it is important that you discuss it with those centres and your mentor. You can also change schools or learning centres. However, it is important to keep all documents of your induction mentoring program so that your new mentor teacher can assess your progress and, if necessary, contact previous mentors and gain further insight into your induction and mentoring program so far. If you are thinking of teaching overseas, there's a few notices. If you're thinking of moving to Australia, make sure that your qualifications are recognised in the state. You can transfer your provisional certification from New Zealand over to Australia. Please also note that induction and mentoring periods and requirements are different in each state. You are also able to transfer your full certification over from Australia under the Trans-Tasman Mutual Recognition Act. The Teaching Council is able to consider overseas teaching service as well as consider 1 year of overseas induction and mentoring service depending on how the program is structured, and we would need evidence of the program. If you have not been teaching within 5 years of graduating, you may be required to complete a Teacher Education Refresh program before you can be issued with a further Tōmua Practising Certificate. If you need help with your application, you can try asking our chatbot, Miro. You can find Miro at the bottom right of your screen when you visit the Teaching Council's website.